On his dying bed, Master Aemon gave Jon Snow one last piece of advice. "Kill the boy," he said. "Winter is almost upon us. Kill the boy, Jon Snow, and let the man be born." Jon wanted to let the wildlings through the wall, but the boy in him was scared of the fallout. But after that counsel from Master Aemon, he no longer had the problem of making that tough decision. And unless you live under a rock somewhere, or weird for no reason, you know how that story went. He brought the wildlings through. He was killed for it. He came back, won the War of the Bastards, became king in the north, and had sex with his aunt. For some reason, Master Aemon's words stuck with me for years. Maybe because back when I watched that episode in 2015, I was a 24-year-old boy who was scared of growing up. I had just finished college and was trying to find my feet in the world. I was chronically addicted to PMOing. I was still living with my parents, I had no job, and I was broke. I couldn't talk to girls to save my life. I was a scrawny kid who was scared of doing anything brave. Half-assing every major decision of my life was my mantra, and I always looked to take the easy way out of every challenge I faced. I knew that according to Master Aemon, boys are scared of making tough decisions and half-ass everything they do. But men make these tough decisions for better or worse. And that was probably why that scene stuck with me for years. Maybe I had a viable excuse for not growing up though. After all, I didn't have any father figure to teach me how to be a man. But one fateful day in 2020, during the lockdown, I watched a podcast where Nipsey Hussle talked about how a book called The Way of the Superior Man changed his life. Then I went and read the book, and I could remember feeling exactly how I felt when I watched that scene of Master Aemon and Jon Snow. Here I was, reading a book instructing me on how I could be a superior masculine man. And given that I never had a father figure give me all these lessons, the book resonated with me in a profound way. It became a manual that taught me what the masculine essence is and how I could make it thrive so that I would be whole and fulfilled. And over the years, I must have read this book more than 20 times by now. And in this video, you'll find out exactly why people like Nipsey Hussle and I have turned this book into a manual for growing up. In this video, I will take you through the 5 takeaways from the book that have changed my life. Number 1. The Law of Polarity. Before delving into what makes the masculine superior, the author ensured we understood the law of polarity. And here's what polarity means in a nutshell. There are 2 poles, the feminine and the masculine pole. And though we move through both poles during our lives, each person has a dominant pole they are in, most of the time. And irrespective of your gender, you're either dominantly masculine, feminine, or in some cases, dominantly neutral. Some men can be feminine dominant and some women can be masculine dominant. But in most cases, men are masculine dominant and women are feminine dominant. To live a fulfilling life, you must act and do things that will enrich the core of your dominant pole. Failure to live this way means you become depolarized. Depolarization occurs when you start acting in a way or start doing things that take you farther away from your dominant pole. And since this simple lesson has been lost on the world, most people nowadays are depolarized. In today's world, dominantly masculine men are acting feminine, while dominantly feminine women are acting masculine. The first problem with being depolarized is you're not integrated. You become a shadow of yourself. You become depressed, miserable, and irritable because your dominant core isn't engaged. This is why depression in women is at an all-time high. And this is why men are struggling in their careers and their financials and feeling lost. The second problem with being depolarized is your presence won't be magnetic. Because for there to be magnetic attraction both in your intimate relationships and your interactions with the world, you must assume your dominant pole to attract the opposite. This is the law of polarity, which states that the masculine attracts the feminine, and the feminine attracts the masculine. This is why most people are struggling in their intimate relationships. And this is why divorce rates are at an all-time high. And since the book and this video are mostly targeted towards a person with a dominant masculine core, we go on to explain how you can keep your masculine core engaged and make it thrive so you will become integrated and whole. Number 2, connect to the source to give your gift. The source is that force, which grounds the masculine core of the masculine man. And when the masculine man is grounded, he's able to focus, he's able to figure out what his greatest gift to the world is and how to give it wholeheartedly. But what is the source? And how can a masculine man connect with this source? The source is that entity that keeps everything together. It goes by different names from place to place and faith to faith. Some call it the universe, some call it God, and some call it the ether. There are different ways you can connect with this source. You can access this source by entering the flow state, you can access it through constant meditation, or through practicing semen retention. There are some other ways which I go into the details of in a video up here. But in the book, David Deida explained a specific breathing technique used to connect with this source. And I like to call this breathing technique balls breathing. This breathing is done by clenching your pelvic floor muscle and using your breath to bring your sexual energy up your spine. And to make this balls breathing more potent, you should rid yourself of all internal masturbatory tendencies and thoughts. In other words, stay away from PMOing. What you're doing with this breathing technique is sexual transmutation. By doing this technique regularly, you're unlocking a higher form of orgasm. By doing this technique over and over throughout your day, you become relaxed, you can focus better, and as a result, can connect to the source more. All your actions and thoughts start coming from a relaxed and connected source. And from this source, you can give your unique masculine gift to the world. Number 3, live your edge to give your gift. Every masculine man is happiest and most fulfilled when he's giving his unique gift to the world. This is the essence of the masculine core. This is when the masculine is most connected, integrated, and fulfilled. Failure to do this, he becomes a shadow of himself. Your edge are those things that scare you. Your edge are those things you're putting off because of the fear of failure, or the fear of what people might think. Your edge is that tough decision you're scared of making because you'll stand out, go against the norm, or lose people in your life. Just like Jon Snow was hesitant to bring the wildlings through, even though he knew it was the right thing to do. Just like I knew deep down that I had to work harder, leave my parents' house and become independent but afraid of trying because of the fear of failure. For you, the edge might be that job you hate but are afraid to quit because of the fear of being broke. Or that toxic relationship you're in that you don't want to quit because of the fear of being alone. Or that day you see a beautiful girl you would like to talk to, but didn't make your move because of the fear of rejection. No matter what your edge is, if you're not constantly leaning into it and living your life from that edge, this is a weakness that affects your masculine core. A weakness that betrays who you truly are. A weakness that prevents you from giving your greatest gift to the world. And make no mistake, the gift you're meant to give to the world is always on the other side of your edge. Failure to live from your edge is a weakness that the people in your life can smell. Your family can smell it, your coworkers can smell it, your neighbors can smell it, and most importantly, your woman can smell it. Number 4, your purpose comes first. Giving your greatest gift to the world to make it a better place is the purpose of your existence as a masculine man. And it is this purpose that engages your masculine core and makes it whole. So at any point in your life, this purpose comes first. It is more important than your relationships. It's more important than sex. It's more important than raising your kids. And it's more important than any other thing you can conceive of using your time to do. If your purpose comes first and can't be sacrificed for anything, then it makes sense that you align every other thing you do with it. How you spend your time, your intimate relationship, your diet, your career, and every other decision you make should be aligned with your purpose. Every other thing you do should be in service of that purpose of giving your greatest gift to the world. Let's look at the character Jon Snow again. After getting that singular purpose of uniting the world against a common enemy, the most dangerous enemy he believes faces humanity, every waking moment of his, every decision he makes became in service of that singular purpose. His fights, his friendships, his alliances, his love interest, and the words he speaks all became in service of that singular purpose. When I read this book, making the world better in my little way became my mission statement. And everything I did from then, everything I sacrificed has been in service of that purpose. I felt at that time that addiction to PMOing will ruin a man's life, as it almost did mine. So, my purpose became helping as many people as I can to break their addiction to PMOing. This purpose engages my masculine core. It reverberates in every word I write and every video I make. Another purpose I took on back then was liberating my family and eventually generations to come from the poverty I grew up in. In service of that purpose, I'm trying to master the laws governing money so I can become a millionaire and teach my people or anyone who cares to know how not to be poor. Cause being poor sucks. I've sacrificed romantic relationships, friendships, pleasures, and a certain way of living at the altar of this purpose. And I have never regretted making these tough decisions. Every morning I wake up, I ask myself what are those things I could do today that would help me give my greatest gift to the fullest. And I go ahead and do them. And one other thing the book touched on was the issue of sacrificing your purpose for your woman. What the author reiterated was that your purpose comes before your woman. And no matter what the circumstance is, you should never sacrifice your purpose for your woman. If you do this, you'll be depolarized. You'll come to resent her for it, and she will simultaneously see you as weak for giving up your purpose for her. The question you might have now is, okay, what happens when I have fulfilled this purpose I've built my whole life around? What happens when I have liberated as many people as I can from PMO addiction? And this takes me to the last takeaway I got from this book. Number 5, there is no end. The superior masculine knows that there is no end to life. He knows that there's no end to life's challenges, no end to how his woman acts, and no end to his purpose. Stop hoping for the completion of anything. Stop hoping that there will come a day everything will change and you'll finally be happy. That's not the way of the superior man. Instead, the superior masculine learns to become proficient in the dance with life's challenges, life's chaos, and life's feminine. And because the superior masculine knows that there's no end, his purpose becomes synonymous with the layers of an onion. After peeling off one layer and feels he's fulfilled all obligations on that layer, he waits again for a message from the source for another layer of purpose. Then he starts giving his greatest gift all over again. The book also touched on the dynamics between the masculine and feminine, which I feel is invaluable advice to have a fulfilling relationship. I didn't mention any of that in this video, and that's why I would implore you to read the book. You can find a link to the book in the description box of this video. And as I have found out in my life that if you want to really put becoming a superior masculine on steroids, just as the author suggests, you should try practicing semen retention. And I go into the most comprehensive benefits of semen retention a masculine man would experience in a video up here. Watch the video to learn what to realistically expect. If you made it to the end of this video, I appreciate you. If you found this video helpful at all, please destroy that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss it when I drop videos like this in the future. If you didn't find this video helpful, I thank you for watching this long. See you in the next one.